You know that moment when a simple family dinner turns into a life-changing confrontation? For Eva Hayes, it started with one sentence that echoed through the whole room and ended with 48 missed calls. But what happened next would shock everyone and expose a family secret no one saw coming. This is the story of a single mom, an ICU nurse, and a mother who thought she could control everything until the truth finally came out. Buckle up because this is going to be one wild ride. The countdown was playing on the TV, everyone pretending to relax in her mother's shiny new suburban house. The air was thick with tension, even though everyone was trying to act normal. Then Madison's mom stood up, lifted her glass, and announced loud enough for the whole room to hear, "We are not babysitting your kids anymore." The silence was deafening. Madison's fork froze. Her daughters looked up, trying to figure out if this was a joke. It wasn't. No more late nights. No more being her backup plan. And just like that, Madison walked out before the countdown even hit 10. At the time, she thought she was just setting a boundary. She had no idea what was coming next. For months, Madison had been living a double life. 12-hour ICU shifts, then driving 40 minutes out to the suburbs for her mom's appointments, grocery runs, and insurance mix-ups. Her rare free weekends were spent tearing up concrete in that same backyard, painting fences, arguing with the Hoa. The deal was simple: family helping family. But somewhere along the way, her mother started keeping score, making Madison feel like her kids were a burden instead of her grandchildren. Madison didn't see it coming because she'd been trained since childhood not to question her mother's needs. But that night, something finally snapped. The weight of all those years of sacrifice, the constant demands, the way her mother always found a way to make her feel guilty, it all came crashing down in one moment. New Year's morning, Madison's phone buzzed like it was drilling through the nightstand. 48 missed calls. Her nurse brain jumped to the worst: heart attack, stroke, fall. She called back, already mentally calculating which air to take her mom to. But her mother's voice wasn't weak or pained. It was angry. "You need to come out here, Madison. We need to talk." When Madison arrived, there was no ambulance, no crisis. Just her mom sitting at the dining table, makeup on, hair done, not a hospital bracelet in sight. The whole setup looked less like a family emergency and more like a disciplinary hearing. Madison stopped just inside the doorway. "So no one is dying?" she asked. Her mom rolled her eyes. "Can you not be so dramatic?" The tension was palpable. Madison could feel the weight of years of unspoken resentment hanging in the air. She knew this wasn't about her mom's health. It was about control, about power, about making sure Madison stayed in her place. Aunt Denise showed up at Madison's apartment with bakery cookies, and the truth Madison had been too close to see. "Your mom is spiraling," she said. "But not because she needs you, because she doesn't get to be the hero anymore." For years, Madison's mother had built her entire identity around being the sacrificial parent, the one who suffered while everyone else took. But then Madison got her nursing degree, landed the ICU job, bought her own car, raised two daughters without dumping them on anyone full-time. Little by little, people stopped talking about how much her mother sacrificed and started talking about how strong Madison was. Her mother was losing the spotlight, losing control, losing the one thing she could hold over her daughter: access to the grandchildren. When Madison stopped playing her assigned role, her mother's identity cracked. The babysitting announcement wasn't about being overwhelmed. It was about punishment, about reasserting dominance the only way she knew how. And what happened next would change everything. Madison's mother wanted to prove she didn't need anyone, especially not her ungrateful daughter. So she hired a contractor for the backyard renovation she'd been planning, the one Madison had offered to help with on free weekends. The original quote was $10,000, bare bones, just enough to brag about at family dinners. But the contractor saw an opportunity. An older woman desperate to prove something, signing change orders without reading them, saying yes to upgraded stone, gas lines, bigger grills, fancy lighting packages. Every time she agreed, he wrote it down and added to the bill. By the time the city inspector showed up, the project had ballooned to $22,000 plus fines for starting construction without proper permits. The Hoa piled on penalties for code violations. Madison's mother started calling relatives, asking to borrow money, crying on the phone about how she had no one to help her, how her ungrateful daughter abandoned her to deal with construction sharks. She conveniently left out the part where she'd refused advice, signed contracts without showing anyone, and dismissed every warning because admitting she needed Madison would mean admitting she was wrong. The debt kept climbing while she kept playing victim to roles she'd perfected over decades. And the worst was yet to come. Madison almost let it go. Almost scrolled past her mother's Facebook post showing her standing in front of the finished backyard, smiling like she'd just conquered Everest. "New year, new projects, doing this all on our own now," the caption read. Friends commented with applause emojis, calling her inspiring, independent, a survivor. Madison stared at her phone during a lunch break, remembering every weekend she'd spent in that yard, every tile she'd helped pick, every Hoa email she'd handled. Her mother wasn't independent, she was rewriting history, and worse, she was doing it publicly to cast Madison as the villain in a story everyone believed. So Madison posted a reply with two screenshots, one of her covered in dust from the backyard demolition, another of her mother's text spelling out their original deal. "The yard looks amazing, Mom," she wrote. Just to be clear, it wasn't done all on your own. I spent months after 12-hour shifts helping. You offered babysitting in return. When you publicly announced you were done with my kids, you ended that deal. I chose not to fix the rest because you made it clear you didn't want me as family, just as free labor. I wish you'd told the whole story here. The family group chat exploded. Aunt Denise liked the comment. Cousin Monica confirmed she'd heard the same deal months ago. Then someone dropped a screenshot into the wider family group, and people really started talking. The truth was finally out, and it was about to change everything. Madison didn't organize a campaign or rally relatives to her side. She just stopped covering for her mother's version of events, stopped absorbing blame for choices she didn't make, stopped pretending the sacrifices only went one direction. One by one, family members spoke up. Madison's grandmother revealed her mother had borrowed money, claiming nobody would help, without mentioning she'd pushed Madison away. An uncle pointed out this wasn't the first time she'd refused advice, then wanted rescuing. Monica asked her publicly to stop comparing her perfect son Caleb to Madison's daughter. Nobody called names or attacked. They simply stopped pretending they didn't see the pattern. Madison's mother deleted her post and sent a furious message. I hope you're satisfied you turned my family against me. Madison wrote back once. I didn't turn them against you. I just stopped covering for you. What they do with the truth is on them. Her grandmother paused the quiet financial support she'd been sending, saying maybe it was time Maggie sat with her own choices. A few relatives quietly removed her mother from smaller group chats she'd dominated for years. It wasn't exile, just gentle distance from drama they were tired of managing. Madison left the family group herself and turned off notifications. She answered messages from people who actually showed up. The neighbor who traded kid-watching shifts, the coworker who swapped schedules, the other moms who offered rides without keeping score. And in that moment, Madison realized the real revenge wasn't about winning or losing. It was about peace. Sitting in the dim light after tucking her daughters in, Madison realized the real revenge wasn't the Facebook post or the family finally seeing through her mother's victim narrative. The real revenge was peace. It was choosing her daughter's emotional safety over her mother's comfort. It was refusing to be the emergency exit every time her mother lit a fire she could put out herself. It was building a life where guilt didn't dictate every decision and where love didn't come with invoices attached. Madison's mother did eventually reach out with a stiff apology, admitting she'd felt invisible as Madison's success grew. Scared there was no room for her unless she was needed. They met for coffee and Madison laid out clear boundaries. No more calling the kids a burden, no more using babysitting as leverage, no more expecting Madison to be on call for everything. If her mother could respect that, she'd have chances to be a grandmother, not by right, but by earned trust. It wasn't a fairy tale reconciliation, but it was honest. If there's a lesson here, it's that you don't owe your silence to anyone, even a parent, when they're hurting you or your children. Family isn't a free pass to be cruel, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away from the toxic script, build something healthier with people who genuinely care, and let the ones who tried to break you live with the fact that you're thriving without them carrying their weight. This version dives deeper into Madison's emotional journey, adds more context about her mother's psychological patterns, and expands on the family's reactions and the aftermath. Every section is fleshed out with more detail, richer storytelling, and emotional depth to keep viewers engaged throughout. If you need even more expansion or specific details added, let me know.